Only 12 months ago, Ford said it was having its iPhone moment, meaning it had no idea just how much demand there was for electric cars. They couldn't make enough to satisfy demand. Customers were knocking down their doors saying, give me a Mach E, give me a F-150 Lightning. Now things have suddenly changed for Ford, and Jim Farley has changed his mind. There's no longer an iPhone moment. It's now going to be very slow. This electric car transition, Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, believes it's not going to play out the way that most of us think it will. He apparently knows better than we do. Maybe this is true. I mean, he is the CEO of Ford. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans. I'm coming to you from Newcastle in Australia. Ford CEO Jim Farley predicts that the electric vehicle adoption, the disruption, will be much slower than expected. Now, like I said 12 months ago, he was saying the complete opposite to that. He was saying that Ford would massively ramp up as quickly as it could its electric vehicle production in order to be able to make 600,000 vehicles per year starting around about the fourth quarter of this year, being at a run rate of 600,000. That would be a pretty significant number. That would be nearly not far off 20% of Ford's global vehicle production would be electric. But now they're saying, not so fast, not happening. Why? Well, I mean, I've mentioned this a few times. You already know this. $32,000 US dollars. That's what? $46,000 US dollars in losses on every single car they've been selling on average in the second quarter of this year. Luckily for Ford, they haven't sold very many. Very luckily for them. And the truth is the prices, I think, for Ford's EVs are pretty good. But the demand just isn't there for their EVs. There is definitely demand. EV sales this year have actually grown worldwide by 60%. That's a pretty big number. While the veteran automaker reported revenue of $45 billion in the second quarter, which represents a 12% increase year over year. Revenue is not the only fair number here to look at because revenue doesn't mean you made a profit. Ford shared it lost $1.1 billion before interest and taxes on its electric vehicle business during the second quarter. This figure is over twice as much as 2022's losses, and they sold more EVs in 2022. Strange. As noted in a recent report from the New York Times, Ford is now expecting to lose $4.5 billion before interest and taxes on its EVs in 2023. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of cash. Especially when, yes, Tesla's margins are not as high as they used to be, but any kind of positive margin when you're selling EVs is a really good thing, as you can see from this situation. I mean, look at Rivian's margins. Analysts are saying, wow, amazing. Rivian predict their negative margins will go from minus 58 to minus 51. Previous forecasts estimated Ford would lose around $3 billion. Ford Chief Financial Officer, CFO John Lawler, shared a comment about this trend in a conference call. Here's what Johnny had to say. While the shift to EVs is unquestionably underway, the last few weeks have shown us the adoption by early majority customers will be a little slower than expected, Lawler said. He also said that Ford was slowing its rollout of electric vehicles to some degree, with the company now expecting to make 600,000 EVs a year by the end of 2024. Previously, Ford aimed to reach such levels by the end of this year. Teslarati, who reported on this story as well, said despite the larger losses, Ford's electric vehicle business is still growing. Is it? Sort of. As noted by the company in a press release, revenue from Ford's Model E first-generation electric cars rose by 39% in the second quarter. Ford Jim Farley remained optimistic, but revenue isn't everything. Part of the reason why revenue increased is because the number of Mach E's they sold declined, and the number of F-150 Lightnings they sold increased, but not by anywhere near as much as I expected, not by anywhere near as much as analysts expected. When you've got more than 200,000 pre-orders, you have to pause pre-ordering because there's so many of them and you think you can't meet demand for 5 years. All of a sudden, you've got inventory in dealerships. You've got more than 30% of customers cancelling their orders because they think the cars are now too expensive after 5 successive price rises. It means that I don't think you can call that growth. Really. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. The near-term pace of EV adoption will be slower than expected, which is going to benefit early movers like Ford. I mean, Ford keeps saying they're early movers, but still only around 3% of their global sales are electric. That's actually slow compared. Volkswagen's at what, about 8%? Mercedes, 12%? It's really not, in my opinion, something to crow about. Farley said, EV customers are brand loyal, and we're winning lots of them with our high volume, first generation products. We're making smart investments in capabilities and capacity around the world. And while others are trying to catch up to us, we have clean sheet next generation products in advanced development that will blow people away. Well, so far this year, let's have a look at whether or not Farley is really telling the truth. Ford worldwide have delivered a total of 14,000 Mustang Mach E's over the last 6 months. 14,000. That's a decline of 21%. Now, they did increase their F-150 Lightning sales. They have ramped up production. They've said that they've tripled production. We're not really seeing those delivery figures just yet, though. F-150 Lightning sales hit 8,757 over the first 6 months of the year. That means that Ford, including the Ford E-Transit, which has been delivered to 2,912 customers, has delivered a total of 25,709 EVs. That's up about 11% versus last year, but only 2.7% of Ford's volume. 26,000 electric cars over the first 6 months of the year. Jim, I don't really call that leading. But hey, maybe I'm missing something. Guys, please, I'm very curious. What am I missing? What is Jim talking about? I'm not doing my job well enough here because my research is just not unveiling the mystery of what Jim is talking about. He's saying all these amazing things, and I wish those things were true, but as far as I can tell, they're not.